You're about to watch the New Orleans TV Internet Work System. Emanating from New Orleans, we produce over 15 shows and more if you're interested. Live broadcasting that we simulcast on both the Facebook social media platform under my name, Bob Bockelman, hard to spell, and under the other social media platform program. Listen to me. That would be called YouTube, and it's my channel or review. Sorry, I don't like the way that looks. Okay, or review. Let me see. R space review. Excuse me. R review is the production company. You see up at top the little ant. So we're about to officially go live. We're all live now, open for public chat and comment. We've posted that. We'd love to see someone give us some kind of message along those lines using one of those two platforms. The big program here, is twofold. One, the new feature, which we started just a day or so ago, is that rather than make you go through the ramifications, if you want to talk live to us, of going through the computer software, you can just make a local call. Now, again, you can make it from long distance, but you would pay on your landline, smartphone. Our number is posted entirely during the show at 504 383 3654, where we'll entertain your questions. We always go over in a little bit the rules, if you want to call it. Nobody likes to hear rules, but rules. One of them is that no bad language. That's foul language, dirty language, street language, rap language. Anything that I find to as old years is offensive. It's not like any other channel where the internet lets you do anything. It lets you do it, but I do have the opportunity to cut you off, which I hate to do. Also, if you're malicious in your content or you're directed toward a person, we don't need that, especially in today's trying days, okay? Lastly, three subjects: sports, politics, and religion, which will leave out a lot of people because those, as I have mentioned numerous times, are basically the talk shows are saturated. Some of them specialize in one or more of those topics. So if you want to touch those, go ahead. And of course, they're all ripe for good conversation, especially nowadays. At the same time, we don't feel like revisiting them here. And we're trying to be a little more upbeat by bringing informative, educational, entertaining thing without necessarily having to have a negative slant on it. This is called Rant Revue. We'll be on momentarily with the program. Just was giving you some background. Again, this is New Orleans TV and a network. I'm Bob Bockelman, your host, or at least your receiver of calls. In addition to using your landline or smartphone to call our number, if you're really savvy, you can do as we're using. You can use on your computer, maybe on the phone too, if you wanted to go to that extreme. Google Voice, using Chrome, of course, but Google Voice. I guess you have set it up as an app. It is free, of course. And then you can dial right on your computer to us, and that's how you'll be coming through. It'll ring on my phone, but at the same time, we'll be talking to you through the computer. That way the audience can hear your call. The anonymity afforded by and the convenience of using a phone is the reason why we installed it. The going through our software, you have to do extra steps. You have to have browser. You need to use your browser of Chrome. You need to turn off your camera if you don't want to be seen. So there's a lot of little technical parts that make it a little inconvenient. So this way, it's strictly dialing a number. And that way we'll hear you directly live, but we won't see your visage. All right. Again, we solicit any comments on any subject except for the taboos. Specifically, what we would like to do is hear about your situation because, as you know, what we're specializing these Rant Review shows right now, this week, starting this week and continuing, is the crisis effect on our local restaurant community. It's devastating right now. I mean, they're struggling hard to survive, but again, as you know, they're are not allowed to actually do in-house dining, in-house seating. So it's all to go, and some of that has caused different changes in menus and maybe even adding delivery of their own, anything they can do to kind of stay in business. So what we've been doing is on the morning program, we try to get a guest like we had this morning. We had the lovely Cynthia, chef, co-chef in. She detailed her regular menu, not all the details because it's there, but also the special menu they're doing, which is really family style or catering style. And she provided her hours, and the menu is. If you didn't see the show, you can rewatch it, of course, on YouTube or Revue or Space Review at any time. But you also can see her website and Facebook posts for the menus and other operational details. But what I do is after the morning show, I go ahead and make calls to restaurants. Oh, there we are. Let me go ahead and start and welcome you one more time to Red Review, the afternoon session, 2 o'clock. We stay on no more than an hour unless we're really going to get some avid conversation, which so far has not taken place. But what we do is put out information to you. With regard to the situation of each of the restaurants. So I do a telephone survey I've been doing in the morning after the morning show, and we report the results to you in the afternoon. That's what we'll do today. As I've mentioned before, we also in contact with our local public officials, the council folk. Cindy Nguyen, who is a District E council person, has already done a similar type survey of restaurants in her area, published on her website. I will be following up with them tomorrow and detailing a little bit more information that I didn't see on the list. And that will all be done on the special show on Monday afternoon. The 2 o'clock Monday afternoon show will be dedicated to District E, or the East as we know it. Our good councilwoman, who's the at large, maybe the president at this point, I'm not sure. Helena Moreno has done a similar thing for any of the districts, and she's getting a lot of comments as people asking restaurants to post. We will be consolidating those. Plus, we put out a reach to her to ask us could provide any additional ones to us, so that way we can do a similar show on an overall part of the parish, like maybe Tuesday, working from her core list. Okay, so today, as I mentioned, what we did do, and then we're going to go ahead and delve into it. Before we get too heavy, please give us a call 504-383-3654 and ask us any questions about restaurants or other topics, as long as they're not something that we're not touching on or don't touch on. And or let us know what you're doing right now with regard to this. Is it strictly you're going to do home cooking for everything and enjoy the time that you're off, or you're also going to be availing yourself of some of the offerings of our restaurants? We know you know that our community is close knit, and the restaurants are a vital link. So we ask you, please go to the inconvenience and accept if there's a limited menu. Patronize these places. Some people ask you to give just gifts, take out gift certificates now so they can give most of the cash to the staff to help pay for their needs, since until such government help, and whether that government help will be sufficient, who knows? Okay, well, without further ado, we're going to start. As I mentioned, we did the A to K yesterday, restaurants, and these are just basically, I went to randomly my my phone book directory, contacts, whatever it's called, and just started calling ones and give kind of a variety. I didn't want to give all upscale, all pull by shops or breakfast places. First one we did is a very common breakfast lunch place called La Boulangerie. La Boulangerie is predominantly a patisserie, but it has phenomenal other foods. That's been it's owned by one of our by a restaurant group owned by one of our very famous chefs. Been open for years under different ownerships, but continues to thrive. Has one of the largest pastry and bread bakeries in the city. Huge variety, extremely popular. So popular that they've expanded to the next suite of that little shop, that little building they're in, to almost not double, but certainly enlarge their seating capacity. They're open early in the morning, usually at 6 in the morning. I've been there and go to the early evening. A full line of breakfast. One of my favorite there is can't find it anywhere else. Let me know if you find it. Is frittatas. You can get omelets, which I'm not too much on scrambled eggs, but even though that's part of this, you can get quiche, which I also enjoy very much. But every day uh, at La Boulangerie, they do one of two frittatas. They're individual servings, so they're not massive. If you're looking for like an omelet, it would be much larger than this. But they do a combination of either vegetables or potatoes, which is still vegetables, I guess. Silly. But well done. And every time I go, anytime before lunch, because it can be breakfast or lunch, plus a full array of their coffees, iced coffees, their breads, their pastries for dessert. Okay, but let not dwell too much on that because we've got a lot to go through. So I did reach them. It seems like that they're doing the regular full menu, so you can just call them up. Now I couldn't find out whether they actually. No, take that back. The boulangerie, I could not get in touch with it. I'm looking at the next person. The I guess it's after hours. They must be closing, or they weren't answering the phone. So you're gonna have to. I'll keep following up and see if we get it because it really is a great place for breakfast or lunch. Because a lot of our places aren't thinking about breakfast. Of course, you got those wonderful fast food places, but I don't talk about those. The next one is La Madeleine. La Madeleine is somewhat always it was kind of a rivalry between La Boulangerie and another Croissant d'Or La Madeleine. La Madeleine was a Dallas creation made to with a created background story from supposedly a little French baker, but has done extremely well. They have numerous locations. Um, the one uptown is at River Bend. There's a new one in Elmwood. Elmwood always had one in Metairie, but they moved closer to the theaters and into the main part of the strip shopping center, even though the theaters are closed right now, but a much larger location. And so they, of course, all of these, remember, only doing to go, except for one exception. They are open from 7 to 7, and it looks like this is very interesting. If you call the restaurant proper directly, use the telephone like we're asking you to do here on the show, you can order anything from the menu. If you go online, there's a limited menu. So here's one where us old fogies who are geared toward the phone as opposed to the computer will travail. So we get a lot larger opportunity to order food from La Boulangerie now. I mean, from La Madeleine. And the key there is you can order in advance or even at the door. And if you order at the door, you also have the full menu opportunity. So online's on 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that's a great one because you can get breakfast, lunch, late lunch. Can't get dinner. It's not 7 p.m. Well, I eat early there. I was just Katrina, and my age, we eat early. So you can really cover all your bases at La Madeleine at one of the two locations I'm aware of. The next one is Liberty's Kitchen. Liberty's Kitchen, hopefully is on Broad Street, Mid City. Started a smaller location, funded by Kellogg's and well, not Kellogg's, the Procter Gamble, I guess they're called, and also Starbucks. It's really one of our three institutions that teach culinary programs to students, whether they're in or out of school. It's a culinary program that allows them to learn everything and also to go through the restaurant rigors of serving and the whole situation. They're following their normal situation, which is just other than in place seating. So You can have the full menu to go if you just call them up. Okay. Now, here's something new. You probably might not have heard of this restaurant. It's called LJ's. I should have asked that. I forgot what LJ. I don't think it's the chef's name because I met the chef. This is a replacement for the Lakeview. If you know where Lakeview is, the restaurant Mondo, formerly by Susan Spicer. So it's that building which has been Barataria, had been numerous things. Originally, the kitchen knife moved across the street. I think it's the butcher knife. I think it's called. But anyway, what's interesting about this is a restaurant is that the chef is a longtime sous chef underneath a wonderful old restaurant that went on for 20 years back in the 80s in Metairie, one of the two or three premier Italian restaurants in Metairie, and that was Chef not Adolfo. Oh, I forgot to go see it. Anyway, my old mind is, but it was the Riviera, I believe, out in New Metairie off of either Clearview or off West Esplanade or Transcontinental. Anyway, produced two good chefs. One who's passed away had another restaurant, but this gentleman has opened it up. So his forte is Italian food because he trained under the best. That's old for the light Italian, but we've been more and more of our Italian-oriented restaurants are getting away from that. So we only have a few that have stuck with traditional foods, and so. But he's got a real good touch on them, good handle on those, and then he's also doing New Orleans foods, fish, beautifully. We ate there the other night before they changed. Beautiful. One of our diners had I think it was a drum. A whole fillet of drum was still on scale and side on, cooked, what's that, sauteed. Absolutely delicious. So, but I hate to tell you this, they have taken the easy way out. It's not the easy way at all, but they have a strictly about three or four items that's done in like catering style, not family style, pans, cold meatballs. I forgot the other name. So you have to basically heat it all up. It's cooked, but you know, it's certainly not the most appetizing methodology. So, but if you live in that area, you don't have a lot of choices. When they reopen, hopefully it's well worth it. We're going to try and bring them on Restaurant Review, our other show, so you can actually see some of the dishes when I do a post as well. Okay, so that's LJ's. Lola's. Lola's is a famous old restaurant. Well, it's not old, but yeah, 80s or 90s. Angel Silva was a poorly deceased Spanish chef who opened it back in the 80s. That's right at the time of the World's Fair. A huge restaurant. It was called something else and kind of lost its pants there and then opened Lola's on Esplanade right off of City Park Avenue. Quaint little place, very eclectic, and it's basically specialized in paella. Paella now also fajilla. I forgot what the Spanish also do it over pasta, paella over pasta instead of over rice, and they do multiple types. Well, since his passing, they've expanded the menu a lot. Now, of course, they still have the basics, multiple types of seafood or meat paellas, which are phenomenal in two different sizes. I don't want to wet your palate too much because unfortunately they had no answer. Now, whether they only open in the evening, which is something I remember, I suspect. So you can try them for yourself and see what's available if we don't get back to it with regard to picking up from them. Folks, we're here for you talking about New Orleans restaurants, which ones are open and what are they doing when it's to go status, full menu. Some of them do adding delivery. Anyway, that's why we'll go one by one approach. A little survey will continue through, but we would love to hear you. Or look, not seeing any comments or public chat on either one of the forums and haven't heard any calls. We'd love to hear from you about a particular restaurant. We can try and find it for you if we haven't already addressed it, and or what you know about it. Anything about the restaurant scene, again, would be appropriate, and or if necessary, your regular lifestyle, how it's affected by the terrible virus. Okay. Well, no, Lola's and M. Now, this one really tweaked my interest. It's hard to do that to old people. It's called Mayas, Mayas. I don't know if you've heard of this. Again, been around for before Katrina, if I remember. Changed location once. They're on Magazine Street down in the Lower Garden District. This is a pan central Latino restaurant. What does that mean? It's central and American food. So across both Americas and also some North America. But a wonderful introduction before we started going out at some of those Latin American cuisines that we didn't have other than just very limited part in the beginning. So they do a good world view of looking at different dishes from the situation. Now, their menus are very nice, but they're doing something special. And starting tomorrow, so you're hearing this maybe first, um, they're having a flat fee, which is not totally unusual, individual service, not for a family style, both at lunch and at dinner. It includes either soup, a salad, and an entree. Um, the price is $14, and get this, you have 14 choices. So that's like, hey, I'm only going to put five on the new limited menu. So you have supposedly 14 choices of entrees, $14, which just is a little bit more, maybe $1 or $2 more than, well, certainly not when you add the soup and the salad with it toward a normal lunch. That's going to be the same price, lunch and dinner. All right. And so you need to go on their website, Maya's, and or Facebook or whatever, and try and find out what those choices are. So when you call, you'll be prepared. If they're going to be open from noon to 7 p.m. And I don't think they have delivery. I'm not sure on that. I'll figure out what I ask. Sometimes they'll offer it. But that's a great choice. I'm anxious to see what it is. I think he said it was coming out later today or being posted tonight at the latest. Watch for them, and if you're anywhere in the neighborhood, it'd be worth a nice trip. I mean, you got to get out the house now and self isolation. You and maybe one passenger drive up there, pick up, and then go find a lovely spot to eat, or take it back on home and eat. That would be one I'm anxious to try. Okay. The next one is the Munch Factory. The Munch Factory is just a staple, and now it's triple location. Creole restaurant. Start early on because they were one of the first um, restaurants that I had after Katrina on my show, Restaurant Review. They basically brought the food chain back to Gentilly, which of course that in New Orleans East were hardly hit. Started selling out of their what we say back a trunk, selling wonderful redfish tacos and their fabulous stuffed peppers, which you can only get on special reserve or whatever. It's very precise. But they opened on Franklin Avenue, did bang up job, then moved to um, Allegiant Fields near UNO, big restaurant. Then decided to come uptown in the Lower Garden District. And I guess it's Sophie Wright Place. It's just that little triangle down on Magazine uh, in the Lower Garden District. That was their original location, or fixed brick and mortar. So they've since done two things. They've acquired this last summer um, the restaurant facility in bringing it back to Gentilly in Pontchartrain Park, the Bartholomew Golf Course. And this beautiful rebuilt structure is all glass on one side, so it's a very contemporary looking restaurant overlooking the golf course. Couldn't be better for the golfers or anyone lives nearby. And they also were awarded one of the local contracts at the airport. Now, I didn't get a chance to talk to the owners to find out what are they doing at those two sites. I imagine it's something similar. At the Lower Garden District site, they're open from noon to 8, and they're doing a limited menu. So you'll need to check it off on their Facebook and our website to find out now. They do have I think they said you might be able to get some things off the regular menu. In fact, the limited menu is, I think, an extraction of some of the favorites. So that's what's good about that. So if you haven't before, try them. Got a nice little touch. You got a great Creole seasoning. Remember, folks, you can call us at 504-383-3654 or post some public chat comment on either your YouTube or your Facebook social media. Okay, we're continuing on. We're on the end. The next one is one of my. I'm a big Japanese pedophile. I'm pedophile. Oh my god. Gee, wait a minute. That threw me for a loop. Foodophile. Um, I guess I'll be labeled now. Foodophile in Japanese is really always been since back in the '60s, which before most of you all were born. One of my favorite cuisines. And even though I like their cooked foods, I really like some of the really exotic stuff. And I have a set combination of things that I really enjoy the best. And unfortunately, some of the stuff is exotic, so it's not even always available at most of the Japanese restaurants. Only three that I deal with that I know will have that at least on occasion, if not, more frequently than someplace else. And one of those is origami. Our good friend, the chef and owner of Mitsu, who is one of the earliest female, probably think she was the earliest female sushi chef here in New Orleans. Japanese background, absolutely lovely lady. Originally, this was at a different location. When Ferret Street came back after Katrina and became, in addition to Magazine, a restaurant row, she built a great little restaurant. They converted a home, put an outdoor deck, seating, etc. Unfortunately, there was no answer. I'm hoping that doesn't mean they're closed in the race. I'm hoping that maybe they're just doing evening because I know I'll be trying them out because I love my Japanese sushi rolls and suribi. So that you'll have to find on your own unless we get back to you indefinitely in a future thing. Now the next one would be let's see, we did origami, so uh, try to cover some breakfast. I mean, I love to go eat breakfast, and I hope you do. Of course, I'm sure the IHOPs and those kind of places. I guess they'll be providing. I'm sure they need to. That's a national chain. You got to be providing service. We have about a list of maybe four or five independents that we really love, and one of those is Panola Cafe. Panola Cafe is on Panola and Burdette in the kind of University Claiborne area, right off of Carrollton and Claiborne, a couple blocks off of each. Originally, it was known as what was that called? The Bluebird, which moved to a lot of our restaurants move if they don't go out of business or succeed. They went to Britannia, which then became Cooley's, which is now a Latino breakfast place. But anyway, this particular restaurant is owned as under the Riccobono's ownership, who owns the Peppermill. So the quality is always there. They have wonderful breakfasts and lunches. Uh, so it's always like every 2 weeks on a Sunday morning, we'll fight the crowds. Uh, but sad to say, I spoke to them today and they said, we can't make it, Bob. We are closing for the duration. So that's really sad news for me because it's one of our really go-to weekend breakfast places. I'm not into brunches. They offer those things, the alcohol, like that buffet style. I don't like breakfast. I don't like brunch and I don't like buffets. So most of those that are extremely popular, I'm not going to be reporting on. That's just my limitations personally. Um, Next one is right near me, an old line favorite called Pascal Manali's, right there on Napoleon and Dryden Street. Been there for, I don't know, I should ask, down to St. Charles, but really a great inventor of some wonderful Italian food, a great oyster bar, which there's three or four other ones uptown in New Orleans where it's just so much fun to go to the bar and eat oysters raw. We're talking about raw, of course. Uh, they changed hands, and I have to admit, I hadn't been in years because of that ownership. That was the new ownership is different. I'm not going to go into it, but they brought back even some of the service. I had been there for years and worked for years. I went there and tried. The food was good. I was glad to hear that. They did some of the food, and so I gave them a call. And let's see, what did they tell us? They said that they're open from 11:30 to 7, and they have a special menu. It's limited, so but it is some of the favorites that are on the regular menu. So if you have eaten there with occasion or fans, hopefully it's there. So you just need to call them. Again, it's to go. They're open almost almost regular hours, 11:30 to 7, so you can eat breakfast or dinner. I mean lunch or dinner, and pick it up. They didn't tell us whether they did any kind of other charges, so no delivery. Um, Out in Metairie, Porter and Luke. I told you a little earlier that the chef, one of the sous chefs who opened that new restaurant, LJ's at Lakeview, this other chef uh, was offshoot from La Riviera. This was the great old Italian restaurant in new Metairie. Let's put it that way. He was a head chef for several years called Nuccio's out of Jefferson Highway or Jefferson Highway. At that time, I had a dinner club and brought about there truly good food. He was then appointed to this new restaurant at that time opening up in Old Metairie off Metairie Road called Porter and Luke's at a little shopping center there. Very family style. Attracts a lot of the elderly because of a lot of the rich elderly and upscale elderly are living there. So they have family style meals. Unfortunately, the chef passed a couple of years ago, a very young chef, but it happens. Uh, and so I've only been there once. It wasn't as crowded. The food was okay. It was I could have got a bad night, so I didn't have to go back. But it is very popular. It's a staple in that area because they need the restaurants to support the residential community there that really doesn't want to go out of their territory or can't because of physical limitations. Restaurant's big and nice, so it's got nothing to do with that. It doesn't look like a old age home except for maybe some of the clientele, but the food should still be good, I hope. All right, after Porter and Luke, Pacino's Coffee House. Now, this is the one on, I think, Metairie. I can't remember. It's the Old Metairie Road. Anyway, they're only serving coffee and cold drinks, and they're allowing up to 6 people to come in to sit in the store and drink that, which I didn't think they could. But if you're among those lucky 6, and they do have good coffees, but they don't have pastries like they used to have. So that kind of, for me, limits it. I can't have one without the other. So that's something you'll have to check if you interested. At least you're offering a place to stay if they are not violating any rules or caught by that. All right, now new breakfast places and lunch and dinner. It is very popular one that I love on Magazine Street called Red Dog Diner. Red Dog Diner, I believe it's Diner. It's next to, and I forgot the name of the. There's a restaurant on the corner that was on our shows that was came into fold after Katrina, and it's sanitized Jamaican food, but not as good as the old time Independence. A big meeting place, packed for alcohol and when I say meetups. So much so they bought the place next door called Red Dead. I believe the wife of the guy who owns the other room, which I can't remember, the Bombay House. It might not be about that's something else. Anyway, Red Dog Diner originally started breakfast and lunch, but now dinner. They've got some really good stuff. Their quality, their food, and their beverages, especially their coffees, superb. And I mean, some of them very spicy, so you got to watch it if you're concerned about that because they really know how to up the heat level. Unfortunately, in a voice message, and I could not get in touch with any of them. So when you hit the thing, nobody picks up. It just keeps ringing. So I don't know if they closed. It kind of scares me because since they were breakfast and lunch, unless maybe it was too late, maybe they closed and only do breakfast. I had to try them again because it's one of my go-to places. Another old one, not old one, River Bend, at the bend of the river of Carrollton is that Hampstead, I believe. Refuel Cafe, which is got a little bit of a Latin flavor, but it is basically breakfast and lunch, and there was no answer there, so I can't give you information. And I ran into a similar unfortunate situation out in Metairie. Another restaurant that was on our show, Restaurant Revue, on Old Metairie Road, was one of the earliest Asian restaurants other than Chinese, and it was called Bowls and Bowls, which was Vietnamese doing some Vietnamese food there. Great kind of narrow place, nice looking, lovely couple that runs it. Very well priced. Whether you want photos, rolls, bowls, it's just they had it. Well, there was no answer, so I don't know. They used to always be open at lunch and dinner, and unless it's their closed day or they're working out, we'll see. So I'm striking up zero there those last 3. Um, Next one is hmm, what, what's next? I can't. Bob's handwriting so bad. But the next one is a very popular one called Superior Seafood. That is Superior Grill, which I'm not a big fan of, on St. Charles, specializing in predominantly Tex-Mex. We're not talking about that. I think I'm always sure it's a similar group, but they had trouble putting this place in about 10 years ago. It used to be a Walgreens, neighborhood for Walgreens. It's on actually a prime corner of real estate on the corner of Napoleon and St. Charles. All the parades pass, 90% of the parades pass by there. Um, just a great place. But they specialize in getting supposedly seafood. They do have a great, and I had to, one of the three or four I tell you about that I really like, oyster bar. Well, you're not so much standing there. You could sit because it's fairly large, but usually two shuckers and do a great job. Some of their dishes they do great. Party place with regard to drinks, etc. Our good friend of ours, a musician, local musician, Philip Melanson, a pianist with you know Philip's career. He's a staple in New Orleans. I think he still plays on occasions. They rotate their piano players on the weekends. They do for a few months and then move on to someone else. So we've seen him numerous times a day. We love it. I love to go on Fridays. Well, I think it's every day, but happy hour goes to about 6 o'clock. And when they be by happy hour, I don't know if it's at the bar, but at a table you could order oysters for 50 cents, $6 a dozen, unheard of, and they've always been good. Well, okay, I guess I got to give you the bad news. Let's see. They're open full menu, so that's good. So that's not a problem there. They have added delivery. Their delivery is a little something. It's $10, but it's also a 10% gratuity. And you'll see the ones who've adapted self delivery or doing that, having a fixed price and also a mandated gratuity. So that way, the service, most of that money is going to the service, who really are doing well. They are. They're probably packaging and doing the whole situation of getting your food ready. So that's definitely one I would take advantage of in my area. $10 is not that much for me to get delivery compared to Uber Eats or all those others. So I might be setting some stuff out here because I'm very close to that. Okay, another kind of started as a breakfast. It really started as a juice back in the 80s. This was going to be very popular, 90s, very popular juicing. Everyone was going to be healthy. We had numerous national as well as local juice bars or whatever, juice restaurants, whatever you call. Greg Surrey opened his the Lower Garden District down on Magazine. I don't know what the 100 block is, but way up. When I say up, down toward Canal Street, toward the Central Business District. He later took over a little cottage about 2 or 3 blocks off of Napoleon on Magazine. So that's a lot more convenient for me, even though the original I really like. Where they do all types of fresh juices. I mean, unbelievable. So it's nice now. So it's not like everybody's just coming for juice. Very fact, I'm sure they don't have nearly the amount of juicing people in there. So it's a great supplement. You can get great combinations with or without your food. The food is always good. Now let's see what happened there. So we called the magazine store Uptown, not the Gore District one. It says they have the full menu. They're only open from 8 to 3 and no delivery. So there's the thing. I mean, if you can go pick it up, you can order and pick it up, or you can get someone else to do that for you. Then well worth it because their food is good. They have really good breakfasts, and their lunches are light. Of course, salads and soups and sandwiches. I don't think they have plates, but anyway, Surrey's is one to remember, and I'm hoping the Lower Garden District one is also running a similar type operation, full menu. Um, now this place, I say, oh Bob, that's how can you like that place? By the way, if you wish to give us a call, 504-383-3654, or give us a public comment or chat on your Facebook or your YouTube uh, chat space, because we'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions about either what we're talking about or a particular restaurant you want us to survey for you, we're just trying to give you the land. So the next few days, you don't have to sit there and start. We're trying to save you the research of going online, checking out, or having to call can't eliminate it altogether because we haven't done that many restaurants. But as we build this up with regard to not only my personal surveys, but the cooperation of, like I say, several of our politicians who are public servants with the council districts, then that can help supplement to broaden the scope to hopefully make it convenient for you. That'll be interesting in watching this or rewatching it at any time on the YouTube R space R review, R space REVUE. So that way you can find out if just one in here in a little detail instead of just whether we're open or not. You'll know more about what's available, whether they're doing only limited menus, whether they've added delivery, etc. So that's what we try and get a little bit more detail than some of the individual people who are developing information. Um, Next one, let's see, that was Surrey's, and the next one, as I was mentioned, this one is out in, I don't know what you call it. I call it Airline Park, but I don't think it's Airline Park. That's too far. It's off of Airline Boulevard or Airline Highway at that point, right before Clearview. And it's this little hideaway. It's not on either one of those streets. It's one block off of each one. And I don't know what that address is, but it's called Tessie's Place. And this place has been around. It was mother or grandmother, and the mother, I think the mother passed away. It's the daughter and the granddaughter now as adults who are predominantly the operators and owners of such. It's unimpressive looking. There's a big sign, thank goodness, but it's just these contemporary, built many years ago, parallel strip, was going to be strip office buildings, one level, and they have one side. When you're facing it, it's on the right side. The other side is basically empty. Nobody goes in there. But the park, you can park all around there. This is good, family-style cooking, specializing in seafood and New Orleans dishes. When inside, don't panic. It looks like you're inside a double wide or a single wide. It's paneling, wall to ceiling, which is not something I like, and wagon wheel chandelier. I haven't seen that in so many years. So it's really, but the families, the hand-me-down generation is very, very good. They're very concerned, always hospitable, and have some dynamite dishes. I mean, their gumbos are phenomenal. Salads, all kind of multiple types. It's very new, not just the standard Caesar and house salad. Let's see, do we have good news or what from Tessie's? Tessie's is doing to go only. Good. It's the full menu from 11 to 7. Now, they have no delivery, so you have to go out there and find a place. Tessie's, Tessie'. Super reasonable prices, huge portions, excellent food. Their po' boys are good. I mean, once you get it, if you like that level of food, that family style food, home cooking, you're gonna love it. Tessie's is a fixture. I've been eating there probably 40 years since the 70s. Okay. All right. Next one is kind of the fun place called the Country Club. The Country Club. I guess originally I never heard the story. It's a beautiful old antebellum type structure, and it's actually a country club. In fact, there's a pool and all kind of things that go on there. I understand. They got famous for having drag brunches, which I don't know. To me, when you start putting trending things like that, however, the good thing I have to say is the front 3 rooms are beautifully furnished, and you can eat out on the veranda or whatever you want on the porch, the gallery, which has a lovely view. They have always found consistently good chefs. Their foods are entertaining. They are light. They're somewhat different, some things you recognize, and always enjoyable. So whether you go to the Sunday or Saturday, probably both days, drag brunch, which I know, or go for their food, you'll enjoy yourself. The only thing is they are, ready for this, closed. And I mean, not just for the day. They are closed for the duration, whatever that is. So we're going to miss them. I really will, because that's, especially with the weather turning nice, trying to get one of those prime spots on that front gallery. It reminds me of the one we had yesterday, the Audubon Golf Course, which also is closed. It has some of the best views of oak trees, and that would have the golf course, just pretty. Anyway, next one is what is the next one? There we go. I hate when I can't read, and it's just old age, and not only old age, but eye surgery. So Two Tonys, a contemporary Italian place, but I'd like had lost a lot of restaurants after Katrina, and they started to come back mainly on Harrison Avenue toward the park from Canal to the park, and that's the predominant location. They used to have little mom and pop shops spread throughout Lakeview. This one's more out of the lake toward West End, which is very popular. They don't have too many restaurants out there now, maybe two or three, and some of those are not thriving. Two Tony's is good. It's got Italian bent, and they are open full menu 11 to I think they said 9. I guess the not mandated time is 9. So you can order if you. I like they do one of my favorites. They do a wonderful penne veal, and I like to pair it with. Uh, I think it was capelline pasta, but just basically aioli, olive oil, a little butter, oil, and it's a little garlic. Superb, really superb. But they good soups. Their onion soup is fair. It's better than I'm always craving onion soups, so I try. It's edible, and I do usually eat it. Anyway, that's that. Now, for my particular purposes, that I know this would be a criticism. The red sauce is a little too sweet. Okay, I like it borderline. I'd rather have it sweet than acidic, but I don't like it over sweet, so it's a little too much for me. That's why if I do it, it's usually a little bit of light marinara sauce on the pasta as opposed to full-blown style, Italian style. Okay. Next one, and this is our last one? Yeah, because I didn't realize, yeah, it goes from T to Z. There wasn't a lot in my book, and that is a French, well, not a franchise, a chain, started here, which we like. Zayas, Z-E-A apostrophe S. Used to have multiple locations. They've kind of, I don't want to say floundered, but they've got the group is an interesting combo. One or two were working from Copeland's house restaurants, which to me isn't necessarily indicator of the best food, but certainly very financially with all marketing wise. But this one was brought about to be just a real nice tribute and extension of their other situations. So the locations that I know about now is they were on Metairie Road for years, and this wonderful restaurant that used to be originally a florist when I was growing up, right at the beginning of Metairie Road or City Park Avenue and the Expressway. Then it became a private restaurant, but their lady was phenomenal. They took it over. They did extremely well. They had a fire. It did Katrina, and then they brought it back with a California concept. That they still have a couple of dishes, I think, from that because they were popular, but it didn't do well at all. Now they've reinstated it back as Zayas. So there's that one, and the one I know about is in Clearview Shopping Center, which when we would go to the movies there, which was often, even though the movies are closed, we would alternate between Zayas and Semolina's, which is in there because they don't have much going on, unfortunately, in Clearview Mall. Where they are open 12 of the day to 8 o'clock. Did they say they have full menu? It looks like they said they have a limited menu, which they wouldn't give to me. It's on their website. And they do self-delivery. They do third parties, unless if it's over $50, then they will give you, I think it's free delivery. They'll deliver it themselves. You'll have to clarify that if you're asking to do that. That's Zayas. And this was from the Clearview location. But again, check on the website for Zayas, Z-E-A apostrophe S, to see if the ones that they're offering are going to be suitable for you. I think we did a pretty good job. Again, in just 2 days, 2 afternoon visits, we covered some that I would love to try and get it typed up. Maybe I could dictate it to the phone and get it typed up so we can send you that information and keep compiling it as we add these other sources that we're going to have, reference sources. Again, we thank you. If you watched this morning, we did a great job with Chef Cynthia of Cafe Min, detailing how they're handling the situation and how they're serving you, and their regular menu, if available, as well as the family style or catering menu that they offer. Good thing is you can order in advance or you can order at the door, which is very nice. She's going to be coming back, as I mentioned, on Restaurant Revue, and will do a beautiful job of that, showing the restaurant and 20 of the dishes. So you take a look at some of the stuff we talked about this morning in much more detail. So watch for our posting on Restaurant Revue. Uh, this is probably all of the yes, probably all of the program for the rest of this week. We do have things coming up because, as we mentioned, our Friday show, which I got used to, got the custom of from downtown Bungaloosa, Marcy's picking sale of a old time warehouse full of antiques that's dusty for 40 years. But she's having numeracy with this. She's only doing by appointments now. She's cut back substantially. Plus, she was originally not going to go beyond March 15th anyway. She may stay a couple more weeks, but again, I'm sure sales are plummeting because people just aren't coming out. And if they do, they need to come by appointment. We will do a show on, and that's called Rarity, Rarity. It's a beautiful background if you've ever seen our emblem and logo for that. But we are going to be doing her own Lamossy's Antique Shop in Slidell, and a separate one. I don't know which show we'll put this at, but all you paranormal fans of haunted houses and all that stuff. The building, which is small and cute, very, very cute. It's supposed to be, the looks are deceiving. It's supposed it is haunted and been certified by some paranormals. So I don't know what category or what show we'll put that under, but that'll be a separate show over and above the rarity view, seeing what kind of antiques and treasures she sells out of our shop on a day-to-day basis. We heard some good news today. Well, good and bad. Mixed news last night. We were starting a new. This is just programming information. A new travel show called Rome, Roam, not the city. Revue, and having a great travel agent. That's what we guess the word from the United Kingdom. Going to be my co-host. And this should be fun. The just the dialogue, the different sounds will be fun to do. And we were moving forward to fixing a date when this hit. And of course, as you know, the travel industry, along with a lot of industries, are being decimated. You can't get to the places. The hotels are suffering. In addition to that, there's another hotel in England that we want to do a show on under the same road review under this great boutique old hotel. Just really pretty. And again, they're asking both of us, the general manager of the hotel and our travel agent. Let's hold off, Bob, which I totally concur with, until after this delusionary and serious situation leaves. But I did get confirmation. One of the other shows we do is called Roots Review, where we brought on a floral decorator. It's really also designed for people who grow their own vegetables or beautiful flowers and plants, which I can't do, and to give helpful hints. So there's a new gentleman who's just gotten certified as such and starting his own new business. So he's going to be my co-host locally here in New Orleans, and it's going to be fun. He's excited. I'm waiting to hear back from him so we can put the particulars together, and then we'll of course post it for you, and that would be called Roots Review. Again, it's got a beautiful logo as well, where the ants holding a combination of colorful flowers and vegetables. Yeah, so we cover all bases on that show. Readers Review has been trouble with READERS Review, which is our liturgy thing, whereby we have someone people to come on and talk about books, especially authors. And we've had the first two have come all the way to agreement. It comes time for the thing. One was a no-show, which really hurts me to the quick. The other never could materialize. We put out approaches to the others, and we'll keep looking for it because we'd like to get that one going. Again, before we sign off, before I bore you too much, if you have an idea for a show, send it to me. If you know someone who would be good on one of these shows, whether it's just because you have great talent and talk well or broadcast well or comedic or whatever, or if he or she has a great passion that he would love to be able to teach and show the audience, then let's get him on his own show, him or her on his own show. So we have several opportunities. We have a full-fledged network here for people who want to come on. We're only programming 15 hours, and even those aren't totally filled because they're all dependent on guests. And we've got one person here trying to get all those guests together so we can show you. The chefs are pretty easy, thank you. Local ones seem to be. For some reason, we can't get the USA or the national ones or the international ones confirmed. Artists we can get, which is great locally as well as outside. So those two have always been our core groups for being able to proliferate with regard to guests. But please send any of those things to one of some ways. You can do it through snail mail, not snail mail, excuse me, email bob at rrevue.net. Don't get that confused, not .com. If you want it to go through, it's got to be .net. It won't bounce back, but I won't get it unless you put it .net because we have both domain sites. Or if you're comfortable with Facebook Messenger, Bob Bockelman, that's what I use mostly everything. I know people love to do text messages. It's something I'm not comfortable with because my phone, for some reason, will not give me notifications when I have it. So because I'm not used to using it, I never initiate one of those messages. I'll reply, but I miss a lot. I try it now and force myself to check it at least once a day to see what the new ones are. But you can, if you have to use text message, go ahead and I'll catch you in maybe not the same day, but certainly within a couple of days at the latest. All right. Well, it's we got a few more minutes, but we're going to go ahead and close up shop early. I didn't expect us to go the whole hour anyway. We do thank those who participated by at least watching or listening. Uh, we would love for you to get come on, get on air and do something with us. Show that action, especially with this show. But all of our shows, we do appreciate callers and also chatters or commenters because our guests love it. They love to see what you have to think about them or question them. So please interact. Do me the biggest favor as I ask them again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm begging you. I hate to say that, but yeah, right. R space REVUE so I can get some numbers because this is a numbers game. I don't like to play games. That's why I'm not the typical broadcaster, or comedian. I like comedy, but only real life comedy, not contrived jokes and stuff. You don't want to hear that; it'll turn you off. Contact us if you can. If not, stay tuned and come back to us. We'll also show some of those. We'll do a deliberate replay of the shows that we had this week. If it was a night show, we'll do it at daytime, and conversely, these ones that were done in the day will be shown one more time at night. But if you want to see any of the shows that have already been filmed or broadcast, just go to R space REVUE and look for the choice or the picture or the logo that will interest you anytime. Stay safe, as everyone's saying. I wish we could offer you better, but at least we're offering you some reprieve by at least giving to me one of the most important part of our cultures, and that's food. At least giving that some opportunity to exist in addition to what you can do for yourself and your family. Till such time, take care. It's Bob Bockelman, and see, as we like to say, stay tuned soon and longer. Bye.